Okay. Most important thing is when you start to proctor the test, you need to go to the correct site. So you want to go to mcas.pearsonaccessnext.com. Do not go to the one that starts with TRNG. That is the training site that we used for the infrastructure trial. Once you get to this site, click sign in, enter your username and password, and then log into the site. Um, Up at the top, make sure that it says Westwood High. It should by default, but just double check that. And for the test, you want to see Spring 2019 MCAS, Grade 10, ELA, and Math. And again, if it doesn't say that, make sure that it does. The next step is to actually go to the session that you'll be proctoring. Now, I need to actually jump over to the training site to show you this because I have a sample test session already created there. Before I do that, it's really important to note that you want this banner to be blue. This is the live operational test site. You do not want the brown banner. Okay, I'm going to jump over here only to illustrate how you get to your test session and monitor students, but you definitely want to be on the site with the blue background that starts with MCAS in the URL. So once you log in, this is the home screen that you'll see. You will want to click Testing and select Sessions. You will see a list of sessions that are the different classrooms where the test will be taking place. You'll want to identify your test session in this list. For the purpose of this screencast, I have MCAS training. Just check the box next to that test session. Go up to the top left and select Go to Students and Sessions. And then just click on your test session here under Session List. You will see all your students in this window here. If you have more than 25 students, you're going to want to change displaying to 50 so that you can see them all at once. You will also see your actual student names, okay? For the purpose of this tutorial, I have generic students, but you'll see everyone's actual last name and first name, which is quite helpful. And then up here, this is kind of where you control everything for the entire class. If you see the green Start Session button, you'll need to click it. That may have been done beforehand, but I'll go ahead and click that. That essentially brings up the list of sessions. I'm showing you grade 10 ELA, and there's a session 1 and a session 2. What you will want to do is the script will tell you to unlock the session before you start talking to the students and getting them signed in. So you're going to want to unlock that, and that will permit the kids to log in.
Okay, when kids sign into the Chromebook, the couple important things to keep in mind. First of all, in the bottom right-hand corner, you want to make sure that they have the US keyboard set up. And if it doesn't say US or it may not say anything, they can just click the bottom right corner and then expand that menu and make sure that US keyboard is selected. If it says INTL for international, make sure they switch it to US keyboard. After that, it's also important that kids don't actually sign into the Chromebook, but down here in the bottom left corner, they want to click APPS, select Test Nav. That will launch the testing window. And this takes a few minutes to load. Once it loads, if they have already signed into TestNav before, it'll say Massachusetts up top. If it doesn't say Massachusetts, and have them go up to the top right corner and select choose a different customer. They'll see a list of different states and just have them select Massachusetts. Again, most of the students should, by default, go to Massachusetts. At that point, just have them type their username from their testing ticket and password, and that'll get them into the test.
So on the Proctor site, the teacher can monitor all students at once and their testing status. I only have one student logged in right now. You can see the green active button, and you can actually click on the word active and see specifically how that student is doing, what questions have been answered, which questions have been visited. You can click the refresh button to update that individual student's progress. There is generally some kind of a delay, but it's a pretty good indicator about how individual students are doing. But also at the top, you can kind of see an entire class status in terms of those that are active, potentially exited, that kind of thing. You can also occasionally click refresh up here. To kind of refresh the entire class to update the what you're seeing in terms of status. This student here, I actually has logged out, and sometimes that happens inadvertently. Perhaps the computer runs out of power, or something happens that kicks the kid out of the test. If that ever happens, and a student says that they are no longer actively testing, just click the little triangle button to the right of the word active and click resume upload, or just resume. And that will allow the student to log back in again. Until you do that, that student will not be able to log into TestNav and continue testing. So that's generally the only thing that can really be an issue, is when that happens. Eventually, when the students complete the session, you'll see that their status will change to completed. They will get plenty of warnings about whether or not they want to submit their answers, especially if they have items for which they have not answered yet. But again, their status will change to completed. You'll see blue color coding. And again, you can see it for individual students down below, and you can kind of see at the top for the entire class. Again, refer to the status key to see the status of the different groups of students within your test session. That's pretty much it. Again, you want to stay in this area and monitor tests, and occasionally you may need to resume a student if they get kicked out, but that it's very infrequent, but just probably one of the only things that could happen that might be unanticipated. Other than that, things should go quite smoothly.